Hello, this is Liz Lawless, your host for Wild West Diversity, where we tell the rarely and untold stories of multicultural contributions to the settling of the American Wild West. Each Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be sharing a historical legend and a living legend. Someone from history and someone living that Western lifestyle today, keeping it alive for the future generation. We hope you'll join us on Thursday. If not, we'll see you on the trail. Hello, this is your host, Liz Lawless for Wild West Diversity, and this is episode 31. So just today we're going to be talking rodeo again because we've got a special announcement. We've got a special rodeo coming up. But before we do that, I wanted to tell you you've still got time to sign up for our Sidekick Wallet giveaway. If you'll go to our YouTube channel, it's Wild West Diversity. Just search that, go to the channel, subscribe. Click on the red button that says subscribe there under the video, and you'll be entered to win. And we'll draw for two of these. We've got this beautiful turquoise one with a calf skin there, and then we also have a black one. So be sure to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Another shameless plug for my new children's book. This is African American Western Legends Yesterday. So this is a series of 16 stories about people who lived in the 1800s, people who contributed to the settling of the American Wild West, whose stories you probably never heard before. So, as you know, this show is all about telling those rarely and untold stories. And so we appreciate y'all watching. If you'll subscribe, we're available on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube usually Thursday at 5 p.m. We're taking a little departure today to get out early here at 2 p.m. So we appreciate those of you that are watching. And if you don't catch it live, you can always catch recordings. That goes to our archives to our YouTube channel. So be sure to come back to the YouTube channel and listen to these great interviews that we've got with these living legends and up-and-coming living legends too sometimes. So I think we've got a little video that we're going to play first, and then I'm going to bring our guest back on.
Oh, it's you. Who do you think you are sitting on my back? You want to be a rodeo star? Dare you defy me? Like an underweight amateur, I'll shake you so hard, cowboy, and you can rest assured it's gonna be the roughest ride. Your body flying up and down, you better start praying now, or just run and hide. I'll twist, turn, and buck, get you off my back. I'll jump, kick, and spin. Cowboy, I'ma do you in. I'm fast, big, and bad. This'll be the roughest ride you ever had. You want me? I'm a proud cheerleader for the Cowboys. It hurts me bad to see them fall. They feel the pain, but they won't quit. Gotta have that ride, those boys addicted. Two horns up.
So isn't that great? So that's what happens at the rodeo. So you maybe get that action there a little bit. And so I'm just excited here today. I've got Harlan Hearn and Flores Hearn back with us They are part of the Cowboys of Color Rodeo family. Harlan is, I guess we'd call him the executive director. He's kind of leading the charge now since his dad retired. And Charles is a great grandson of Harlan, a great grandson. And he's the social media director. And so when you see our post on Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, that's probably because Charles has been out doing some good work for us. How are you doing today, guys?
Good, doing great. How are you?
All right. Well, we're doing good. So we wanted to bring y'all back on and do kind of this special feature today. We've got a little bit different time here at 2 o'clock as to work around some schedules, but we wanted you to tell us what's going on next week.
Next weekend, opening weekend of the State Fair of Texas. For the second year, we have been invited back by the State Fair Committee to have our Cowboys of Color Rodeo Friday, September 30th, Saturday, October 1st, 6:30 p.m. each night. We're really looking forward to it. It's the fair bringing rodeo back to the State Fair. It was there for many years. It disappeared. I think the last one they had was 1984.
Right.
And now, starting last year, they're bringing it back, which is great because that's where it belongs, right there. Our, like I said, it's the first weekend, so that's where we start off. Mm-hmm. We'll have our normal routine, you know, bronc riding, steer wrestling, tie down, barrel racing, bull riding, a couple of entertainment acts. You get into the fair with your fair ticket. That is also your ticket to the rodeo, so there is no additional cost.
Right, that's what's great.
Just getting in the gate gets you into the rodeo. So when you come out Friday or Saturday, we'll be there at 6:30. Come on in, take a seat.
There you go. And it's an air-conditioned comfort, too. So it doesn't matter if it's raining. It doesn't matter if it's 100 degrees. It doesn't matter if it's 30 degrees. You know, in Texas, right. the weather changes in Texas, and you never know what it's going to be like. But obviously, right. The great state fair, people come from all over the state to come to this rodeo. I mean, this state fair, and the rodeo, too. So we'll have people probably from all over the world during this next 30 days of 3 or 4 weeks where the state fair is going on. But what a way to kick it off with the Cowboys of Color Rodeo. So get your tickets. If you haven't planned yet to go to the fair, we know you're going sometime. So just go ahead and go this first weekend so that you can take advantage of a free rodeo ticket. I mean, basically, you know, how great is that? You get in the fair, you ride a few rides, you eat some corny dogs or Fletcher's corny dogs or whatever, or funnel cake, and then you go over and sit down and enjoy the rodeo. And as you saw from the video, the rodeo is kind of an action-packed thing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We try to pack as much action as we can in a short time period. A lot of entertainment. We mix education in there as well, and just to give it an overall exciting experience for the fans.
Right, for sure. And so that's the thing about it. And that's what's really different, isn't it, Charles, about this Cowboys of Color Rodeo, is that you get that cultural education and that heritage too, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, when people come, they probably hear about things they haven't heard about. We're going to have steer wrestling. Harlan, tell our listeners or watchers, because we probably got some people that aren't familiar with rodeo. Who invented the rodeo event that we call bulldogging or steer wrestling, which we saw in the video at the first when that guy grabbed that steer and rolled him over on his back and stood up and said he was number one. You know, Cowboys, we're not shy. We tell people about how good we are.
Not at all. Steer wrestling was invented by a black cowboy by the name of Bill Pickett. Bill Pickett is in the Hall of Fame. It's the only event I won't say the only, but yeah, it was an event that he invented, he created. Originally, what happened is a steer got loose during a Wild West show. He went out and trying to catch the steer, was getting out in the crowd. He trying to catch the steer before it got away. He jumped on the steer, grabbed him by the horns, got him to a stop, and actually bit him on the lip. In order to get him down, as he was trying to get him down, he twisted as he was pulling on his head, he bit him on the lip and the steer went down. Now, obviously, we no longer do the bite on the lip, but basically what you saw Ben Goodman doing on the video that's the basics of it. And yeah, it was created by Bill Pickett.
Yeah, that's great. And Bill Pickett's from Taylor, Texas, and then he, like you say, moved up the road. Him and his brother had some, trained horses and some other things. Were cowboys for a while, and then they went up to Oklahoma. And this Wild West show was with the 101 Rodeo and ranch out of Oklahoma, which is one of the huge ranches up there for years. People all over the world, and they took these Wild West shows everywhere. Madison Square Garden, I think, is actually where that steer got out, and they went overseas and performed for the Queen, and all those kinds of things. So royalty and other things. So rodeo has a long history. African Americans have a long history as participants in this sport and in the cattle business. And so those are some of the things you'll learn when you come to the rodeo. Are we going to have the escaramuces and a couple of things, the drill team, some of those folks coming out this next week?
Yes, yeah, we'll have the escaramuces. Well, should have Circle of Five there as well, I believe.
Yeah, so
yeah,
Circle of Five's a black drill team. So they're a black drill team that do intricate movement on horseback with flags and a lot of crossover. The escaramuces, for those who might not know, is a lady Spanish side saddle team. And so they ride side saddle, and they have those beautiful dresses and costumes and the big hats. And that whole program is an after-school program, and young women can come and they make their own costumes. They have to take care of their own horses. And so it's really a commitment of time. Harley, do you think that growing up with horses and animals, does that help you think, as far as discipline and maybe later on in life? Are there things that you learned as a cowboy growing up that you still kind of use today?
Yes. Growing up around animals, there's the requirement of taking care of the animal. It's more than just you. Coming up, it was for us. The horses eat before we eat, so because they depend on you for their food. And so yeah, we'd have to get up. We get up in the mornings. We would go feed, and we'd come back and do the things we needed to do: eat breakfast, get ready for school. But yeah, there's a lot of discipline there because it's daily care. Yeah. You have to constantly, check on them, be around them, make sure they're okay. We had competition horses, being that we were ropers, so there was a lot of practice involved. Keeping ourselves in condition, keeping the horses legged up, what we call legged up, keeping them in condition and in shape. So yeah, there was a lot of time spent at the barn and in the arena. So you didn't have a whole lot of time to get in trouble otherwise.
That's right. Yeah. Well, for sure. And so it is. I mean, and rodeo is a family business. I mean, and I think, like you say, we have this whole kind of underground culture that a lot of people all across the country, even in the world, they don't know, they don't realize. We've had people come from the UK and Sweden and Brazil and Africa and all countries, China, Asia. Asians are really interested in rodeo, and we have a lot of Asians that will come to our rodeos throughout the year because they're just fascinated with this Western history and cowboys, because they've been watching TV and they've been watching the old movies, the old shows that a lot of us grew up watching. Whether that was the Lone Ranger or that was Gene Autry or Clint Eastwood or whoever it was. All of those westerns and movies and shows, they still exist, and they exist in the aftermarket, basically, I guess is what it is, in reruns. And those reruns, it's a lot cheaper to run a rerun than it is to run a live show. So people all over the world have been watching or grew up watching cowboys and Indian movies, and so I don't think I've ever met anybody that didn't play cowboys and Indians when they were a kid. There's something about it. We all want to be involved in that. We always want to do that activity. So what do y'all have? You've got the State Fair Rodeo. That's going to be 2 rodeos here. And then what's the next rodeo that'll be coming up, just so people can put that on their calendar and they can
at this point for us, the next rodeo will be the Martin Luther King Day rodeo that we do at the Fort Worth Stock Show. We've done that. I think this will be the 13th year coming up. That on that Monday we will be over at Dickey's Arena, and we'll do that rodeo. That's our next one.
And that's a matinee, so that'll be in the afternoon,
At
right?
2 p.m. Yeah, that'll be 2
Okay.
p.m. on that Monday.
Because Martin Luther King, for those of us in the United States, that's a national holiday. So the banks are closed, the schools are closed. And so we started that rodeo, like Harlan said, 13 years ago, because we wanted to invite seniors and kids to come out. And that show sells out faster, I think, than any of their other shows, and has for the last, at least last 4 or 5 years that I know of. Is that right, Harlan?
True, very true, yeah.
So you got to get your tickets early. That's why we're telling you to get your tickets today.
I would recommend that, yes. I'd recommend that.
If you wait till January, I mean, even December, there may not be tickets available, because a lot of corporations buy tickets and give those tickets away to, to people that may not otherwise be able to come. So, it's an exciting thing. It's an exciting rodeo, and the Fort Worth Stock Show in January kind of kicks off the whole season. I mean, for Cowboys, for people that don't understand, Harlan, kind of explain that the professional season goes up till December, right, to Las Vegas, because that's probably the rodeo that people maybe have seen or heard about.
Well, the season itself now actually ends September 30th.
Okay.
In the PRCA, it ends September 30th. That's the regular season, which gives them then the national finals, which I believe begins on December 1st this year. So you'll have 10 days. And yeah, that's kind of the official ending. But the thing is that next year's rodeo season will start October 1st for next year, for 2023.
Oh, okay.
So those last 2 months, the last couple of months of the year, you've actually got rodeos that are going on. There's still rodeos happening. It's just that all the prize money that's won in those rodeos will count toward the 2023 rodeo season. So it's not, even though the season ends on September 30th, it's not actually over. There's still rodeos to go to. Yeah. It never ends.
It never ends. Not taking a vacation. I thought you was taking off for a couple of months. See, I've learned something new. I didn't know that. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I never knew that the October and November, and December.
Yeah, they changed it a couple of years ago, but yeah, it used to go up through October. But yeah, they changed it. They cut the season off. Like I said, it ends September 30th, but it also starts October 1st for the next year. So you still basically get a full season in. It's just calendar-wise, it looks a little different.
Yeah. Well, and it's like a lot of people, like, cities and counties and stuff, sometimes they're on an October to September, budget year. Not everybody's on a January to December budget.
Right.
Schools aren't on a January to December budget. They're on an August to May kind of budget. And so different people have different schedules going on. But that's interesting to learn about Cowboys. And you can, Cowboys can win a lot of money, can't they? You have to pay to play. We've kind of talked about that occasionally, but you probably got to put up your entry fees. But what's kind of a normal take if you go to one of the bigger rodeos?
Right now, I mean, it just depends. I mean, yes, the money has gotten better. We've got Cowboys that have won. Here we are toward the end of their season in the PRCA, and they won over $200,000. I think what Stetson Wright is now overall around almost $400,000 for the year. And there's other rodeos and other competitions that they go to also. So there's between the pro circuit and the other associations and rodeos and competitions that are going on, man, the money has gotten tremendously better over probably the last 5-10 years. Yeah,
it was when we were kids, starting out for sure. So, well, that's great. See, and that's the thing people don't know. Now, obviously, it's an expensive sport. You can't hardly get out of the driveway, like you say, for less than about $50,000 or $100,000, depending on, the quality of your horse and your trailer and your truck and the feed. And, you got all of that and your gas. And, when it's $4 or $5, it's a lot tougher.
Yeah. Fuel's been the big monster the last couple of years. So, yeah.
And especially when you're pulling a trailer with horses that's loaded down, it's not like just driving a car or a truck around town. I mean, when you're traveling 4, 5, 6, 10 hours to go to a rodeo, and like you say, you're pulling a big truck and a trailer with horses in it, and I'm assuming when y'all go with 2 to 4 horses, don't you? You don't just take one horse.
Yeah, make a couple. Yeah, now you have to the guys, the men and women that are out there making a living doing this. You also have to understand that there's certain parts of the year where they'll disappear. They'll be on the road for 3 months. So their rig is their home. So they're burning a lot of diesel out there, just doing what they do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's exciting stuff for sure. So, like you say, and not for the faint of heart. And these Cowboys that you're going to see next week on Friday and Saturday night, these are the best of the best. These are great Cowboys. Some of them have been professional Cowboys, and now they maybe kind of have families, and they have their own ranches they're taking care of, and so they do that. And then and we've got some kids coming up. We've had the college champion, we've had the high school champions. Basically, Cowboys of Color is a training ground for especially some of these younger Cowboys to kind of learn the ropes, right, Harlan? Y'all kind of teach them all of these things because, you don't just wander out in your flip-flops and get on a horse and rope a steer. A calf, do you?
We like to, they learn it at home. They have their own, family support structure. What we do is, and also what the fans need to really pay attention to and be aware of is the diversity they will see in the arena. You'll see Cowboys, you'll see African American, you'll see some, Hispanic, you'll see a couple, indigenous cowboys and cowgirls. What we do as far as Cowboys of Color, it's about giving them the opportunity to compete. There's a lot of rodeos that they can go to. We're just one more. And this is about giving them that opportunity to, if they're up and coming, it's just another opportunity to hone their skills in competition, to get them ready for the next level if they choose to go to the next level.
Right, especially. And so that's the thing. And that's what we've always had it in air conditioned, big arenas. Your dad's dream originally was to be in some of these bigger facilities so that people got to, more people got to see these athletes, because these are athletes. These Cowboys are athletes. They, they're working out. They're trying to keep their body healthy. They're trying to keep strong. And so, it's a job just like any other job that maybe somebody has. And so
they work out like football players and basketball players. They work out the same way. The guys that are out there doing this every day, they hit the gym as much as they can. Sometimes even take a little bit of the gym on the road with them.
Right. That's right. Lifting weights and all of that kind of stuff, because you got to be strong, And it's interesting, bull riding, people think you have to be really strong for that, but that's really about balance and timing and hand-eye coordination. The greatest, one of our African-American champions, Charlie Sampson, was called Pee-wee because he wasn't, about 5 foot tall or 5'4" or something.
He wasn't that tall. So, it's balance.
Yeah,
control.
And so even Donnell Timpton, he's not a big guy, he's an average sized guy, but he's won multiple championships with us and IPRA. And as we mentioned, there are these different rodeos associations. So there are little rodeos for little kids, and then high school, and then college, and then amateur, and then professional. So if you're interested in rodeo, there's a place to do that and to find that. And a lot of these scholarships go on the given, don't they? You went to college on a rodeo scholarship, didn't you, Harlan, and some of their brothers?
Well, Dad went, yeah.
So Dad was the first African American, I think, to go to school on a rodeo scholarship. And so that, that's an important legacy. And, that was, like you say, breaking those barriers and doing those things. And so we know that, that a lot of these things go ungiven just because people don't know about it. So we try to, explain those things like we talked about, educate while we entertain you. So, well, we appreciate you coming on, Harlan, so much. I'm going to switch over here to Charles because we're going to try to add a new feature here to our Wild West Diversity show. And so Charles is going to kind of be our man on the ranch kind of thing. Charles, what have you got planned for us coming up here in the next couple of months?
To interview farriers and ranch hands, because not that many people know about a farrier. Because there's a lot that goes into just like owning a horse. Cause like you gotta keep up with the hooves, and then you gotta keep up with the horse health and the feed and stuff like that. And so I'll be interviewing some farriers out there and some
Okay, well,
ranch
that'll be
hands.
great. Yeah,
Yeah,
and ranch hands, and and we've got some, you know, we'll talk a little bit probably about, how do you saddle up a horse, and we'll probably watch that. You don't just throw a saddle on them. You got to have a blanket. They got to have, reins. There's a whole lot of things that go into getting ready for a rodeo, and so we'll be talking about some of those things in future episodes about how to get ready for that. We've got some great friends down in San Antonio, and they're going to be on here with us in a few weeks. Tell us a little bit about the Diaz family while you're here, Charles.
Jerry Diaz is a horse trainer, and he's an entertainer. I know they just got back from the Greeley Stampede, and his son does a little bit of the stuff that he does now. And so they're like a big time entertainers for the Fort Worth Stock Show, the Colorado Stock Show, and the fair. And they'll be at the fair every day of the fair. They're gonna be there this Saturday actually, and they'll be there when we're there. So their performance is before ours on a Friday and a Saturday.
Oh, well, that's great. See, and so this is the Charros of the Heart. Jerry's a 5-time Mexican charro, and basically, like you say, that means he's basically like a Mexican horse whisperer. He trains horses, he ropes, he rides, he has the horses dance. They lay down, and he can stand on them. He can stand up on them. He can, he can throw a big rope up and down over their head and over the horse while he's traveling, while he's riding that horse around in the arena. So this is all about great horsemanship, and you got to have that relationship with the horse. Horses don't just do what you tell them to the first time you get on them, do they, Charles?
No, they
What
don't.
the horse do the first
like
time you got on?
every day. Yeah, I'll be out there every day, and I make our relationship with them and stuff, and then they'll start like following you around and stuff like that. But if you're out there like once a week, they don't I know you to make our
Right. They're like,
relationship.
who are you coming up to the fence? I've never
Yeah.
seen you before. It's it. But that's true, because they're like people. They have personalities. They have good days, they have bad days, and but if they've been training and they've trained, they do their job, and a calf roping horse is different than a barrel riding horse. They have to be trained to do different things. So that's the thing. And like you say, we have some Spanish cowboys, and we have great Mexican heritage, and a lot of the even the words we have today, like lariat is rope. That's a Mexican term. Rodeo is a Mexican. That's a Spanish term. So we have a lot of these things in common. And certainly those early settlers encountered these Mexican charros who helped teach them about horses and training animals and things like that. And now Nicholas is coming up. He's what, about 18, 17, 18, 19, 20,
He's
something
18.
like that?
Well, I think he had just had a birthday, so he's 19. And he does some of the stuff his dad does, but now he goes out there alone and does it. And he'll be there next weekend, teaching like a horsemanship and stuff.
Right. So, it's a generational thing. So horsemanship, rodeo, it's generational. Like I say, Jerry's dad and his grandfather and his great-grandfather and his great-great-grandfather were all Mexican charros. They were all fabulous, famous horse trainers in different places around the world. His wife, Stacy, she's a great equestrian thing. She worked with the circus. She worked with, like you say, kind of current day, what you consider Wild West shows. She's a great horsewoman. She does all kinds of tricks and spins and flips and jumps and, everything all around. It's just astonishing how athletic some of these cowboys are. And so we're glad to know that the Mexican rodeo is going to be going on too. And I'm sure it's the same deal. If you've got a ticket to the state fair, you're going to get all this culture and heritage. And so we encourage you to go. We thank you supporting for the rodeo. We'll look forward to Charles coming on and sharing some of these kind of behind the scenes details, basically, about people that work on the backside of the business. We might interview a veterinarian because, as we say, the horses, when my brother had thoroughbred horses and they didn't always run, but they always ate and they always needed a vet, to take care of them if they got sick. And so, veterinary medicine is a big thing. There's a lot of, there's some chiropractors, I know some chiropractor that does chiropractic on horses. Because they're like everybody else, they can strain their leg, they can strain their hip or their back or whatever, not just from riding, just from running around in the arena and being engaged with other horses. And they can step in a hole accidentally that might be a gopher hole or something that wasn't there yesterday that shows up today because, there are other animals around on the farms. There are rabbits and, and all kinds of things. And so we appreciate y'all being here. We welcome you back anytime. We hope you'll go to our YouTube channel and subscribe so that you can win one of these great Sidekick wallets that we're going to be giving away at the end of the month. And you just punch on the red button. And when you follow us, you can follow us, like you say, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook. You also can follow us on Twitter and TikTok. And Charles is managing all of that stuff for us. So if you see a great video or something on our Cleo Hearn or Cowboys of Color or Wild West Diversity or Charles Two Feathers, that's going to be a video or a piece that Charles was responsible for. So thank you so much, Charles, for being here. Thank Harlan.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll see you guys on the trail, or hopefully we'll see you next week. You'll be back next week. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have Steve Heap on. Steve is a Native American documentary filmmaker who has made a series of fabulous films over the years. A really big film called The Trail of Tears, where they forced Native Americans out of Florida over to Oklahoma. It's at the museum up in Tulsa. And so we encourage you to look these things up and look these people up and then come and watch our episode. So I'm out of time, always running over here, but this has been your host, Liz Lawless for Wild West Diversity, telling you those rarely and untold stories about multicultural contributions to the settling of the American West. We'll see you next week. Hello, this is Liz Lawless, your host for Wild West Diversity, where we tell the rarely and untold stories of multicultural contributions to the settling of the American Wild West. Each Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be sharing a historical legend and a living legend. Someone from history and someone living that Western lifestyle today, keeping it alive for the future generation. We hope you'll join us on Thursday. If not, we'll see you on the trail.